So all month we have been exploring the idea of being your badass self. and we have had a lot of fun with it, and we've gone to some amazing places with it. And it's all about quit doubting ourselves, quit playing small, quit doubting our greatness, and start living an awesome life. And it's been inspired, it's not fully 100% following this book, but we've been inspired by this great book by Jen Cisnero entitled You're a Badass. Stop doubting your greatness and start living your awesome life. Now, I am very aware that this theme has ruffled some feathers. Oh, good. I'm so happy about that. Because you know what they say the job of a minister is, right? The job of a minister is... You're not supposed to say my line, but let a minister say that, right? So the job of a minister is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. And so I think that's what we've done. We've done a little bit of that. We've done a little bit of that this week and this whole month. So our mission today is to kick it all in gear, to kick our badass selves into gear. And we're going to do that, and begin that at least, with a question. And the question is rhetorical, don't have to answer it, but I want you to think about it, really think about it. I've really invited you into thinking about this all month, but today we're going to put the icing on the cake. And the question is, what do you think is possible for your life? What do you think is possible for your life? Just want to let that sink for a moment. And then the second part of this question is, this is rhetorical, but I will answer this one. That first one is for you to answer. But this one is, do you know that whatever your answer to that question is, and it is your answer, there's nobody else can tell you what that answer is, it's yours. But whatever your answer is, there is one thing, one key factor that will kick that, whatever you just said in your mind, into gear. One key factor that will kick it into gear. So what the heck is that key factor? Well, we may say, well, let's see, it's prayer. Yes, absolutely, prayer is important. It's having faith. Yes, absolutely. It is trusting the universe. I guess that's kind of the same thing as having faith, but yes, it is. It's believing in myself. Yes, it is. It's letting go of limiting beliefs. Yes, it is. It's surrendering. Yes, it is. Blah, blah, blah. We could list, I'm sure every person would have a thought as to what the one key factor is. And I will say all of those things, which we teach here, we talk about all the time. I've talked about many of them this month. Yes, yes, all important. And there's something that comes first before any of those things. Something that comes first, and it is what unlocks the possibility for your life. And then all those other things I just listed and that we could list way more of follow in support of this one key factor that kicks everything into gear. So now do I have you? Have I got you? Are you like wanting to know? Oh, well, I'm not going to tell you quite yet. Let's stretch the suspense a little bit longer. But I want to give you a story. It actually is a story I've heard before, and you probably have too. It is in this book, but I thought it is a beautiful example of the key factor. And it's about Henry Ford. Y'all heard of him, right? You know, anybody here not familiar with him? Okay, good, we got it. So back in the day when he was starting his yet another company, because he'd had several failures, by the way, just a little aside. We'll return to that idea in a minute. But he, again, is starting a car company. And he's got a car company going. And he decides that he wants a V8 engine. And he wants it contained in one block. Now, I don't have any idea what that means, but that's what it is. And he says to his engineers, okay, that's what I want, go make it. And they said to him, well, it can't be done. That can't be done. That's not possible. He said, no, I don't want to hear it's not possible. I want you to go do it. And they said, it's never been done, and it can't be done. And he said, go do it. I don't care what it takes or how long it takes. Go do it. So he gave them plenty of room, plenty of sway to get this done. A year later, they come back to him and say, We told you before. We'll tell you again. It can't be done. And he said, yes, it can. Go do it. Eventually, I don't know how much longer it took, but lo and behold, they came back to him and said, oh, we figured it out. It can be done, and the V8 block engine, which you guys, you know what that means. How many of you actually know what that means? Look at all you. I'm so impressed. I have no idea what that means. I just know they are now in cars. Are they still in cars? Not anymore. They're not so much. They were in cars. Thank you for that. I'll fix that in second service. See, now I have gotten some information. So what is the key factor there? Henry Ford used the key factor. And the key factor is make a committed decision. Make a committed decision. So of that idea in this great book, the author, Jen Cisnero, writes, that, and she's referring to the story, that is what it means to make a decision for reals. When you make a no-nonsense decision, you sign up fully and you keep moving towards your goal regardless of what's flung in your path. And stuff will most definitely get flung, which is why making the decision is so crucial. This stuff, and I did edit that, this stuff is not for sissies. In other words, being your badass self is not for sissies. The moment it gets hard or expensive or puts you at risk of looking like a moron, if you haven't made the decision, you'll quit. Pause. Think about your life, not in judgment, but just in observation. Has that happened? Rhetorical question. But it got hard. It looked impossible. It got expensive. You started to think, oh, I'm going to fall flat on my face or I'm going to look bad. And we quit. We have all, I would suspect, done that. She goes on to finish this thought with, if it wasn't uncomfortable, it again being living this full, amazing life you're meant to live, if it wasn't uncomfortable, everyone would be out there all in love with their fabulous lives. But many of us are not in love with our fabulous lives. Possibly it's because we have not made the committed decision. Now, I know many of you sitting out there have made amazing committed decisions. 25 years clean and sober. We were just having a conversation. That's a committed decision that changed your life. You've made committed decisions, but what's the next one? What's the one up now for you to take wherever you are in your life up to the next notch? Knowing that as you do that, you express the divine that you are, that you came here to express, even more fully and more expansively. I love this quote from Stephen Covey, great thinker and teacher, and I loved his his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, was very instrumental on my early spiritual path. So I will always have great appreciation, even though I don't always agree with him in some of his beliefs. But that's okay, because I believe in taking the rest and taking the best and blessing the rest is what I do. Right? So he says, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. That's good. The quality of our lives is based on 2 things: the quality of our decisions and our willingness to commit to them and stay with them to see them through. Another quote that actually I got from Reverend Christopher. Thank you for this, Reverend Christopher. It's from, I'm probably going to butcher his name, so I apologize. Yogi, I can get that one part, but Bhajan, B-H-A-J-A-N, Bhajan. He's in meditation. He won't correct me. Good. This individual was a beautiful spiritual, a yogi, obviously, and spiritual teacher who actually introduced Kundalini Yoga to the United States. This, he said, human is not born a slave. Human is born in truth in the image of God. And every man, woman, and child has to learn this. There's no turning back, and there's no playing weak. Committed decisions are not for the faint-hearted, but there's no playing weak in expressing what we came here in this life to express. So yes, there may be challenges along the way. Okay, wait, they're not maybe. There's a fairly good chance that there will be. And of course, and this is a whole other topic, I'm not going to go there today, but those challenges come up for us to build our muscle, for us to become the person, and this is a key factor, for us to become the person who in fact can live that badass life. Because the person right now that I am can't do it. I have to grow into that. And so the challenges that come along the way are there to help me build my muscle so I can be that. Does that make sense? Good, that's a whole topic, but that's all I'm going to say about that for right now. Because there's the other thing I want to speak about is, yes, there are challenges. But when there is a committed decision, something else happens. The universe kicks into gear to support us. And amazing, unexpected, magical coincidences, those kinds of things happen. You're probably all familiar with a quote from W.H. Murray. This quote is pulled out, it's on memes, it's on posters, it's everywhere, from about being committed and inspiration. It's a piece, a tiny little quote out of his book, The Scottish Himalayan Expedition, which was written in 1951. The quote that you've probably heard is this: "Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too." I love that quote just as it is. It's yummy, it's juicy, it's delicious, and it's not all. There's more. Oh, there's more to that. And I think the rest of it is, even the whole book is yummy, but the rest of that section is yummier and more juicy. So I'm going to read you the expanded version of that quote. And just to set it up, he's writing about this Himalayan expedition that they're going to take. They're going to go mountain climbing. And things aren't moving. Things aren't happening. They feel stuck. Things aren't moving. And he writes in the book, they hadn't done anything. They've been sitting around, they haven't done anything. And then, this is where I want to pick up the quote. He says, "But when I said that nothing had been done, I erred in one important matter. We had definitely committed ourselves and were halfway out of our ruts." And here's how they committed themselves. "We had put down our passage money. We had booked a sailing to Bombay." This may sound too simple, but it is great in consequence. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come his way. I learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets: "Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius and magic in it." Committed decision. That's the key. That's what kicks your badass life into gear. So there are so many examples of, public figures who have had struggles, who were committed to their goal and reached it. And then there are people who had an idea, but they never reached it. Why? Well, let's suggest that it could be because there wasn't that commitment, that even though a roadblock got put in front of them, they stuck with it. So I want to give you a few. You've probably heard these before, but I love them. So the first one is Ford himself. He went bankrupt, I think it was like 5 times or something like that, before that incident of him deciding he wanted to do a block V8. 5 times he went bankrupt in his business, but he was committed to building a new kind of car. He did it. Michael Jordan, you all heard of him? Has anyone heard of, you've all heard of Michael Jordan, right? He plays with a big ball, and he bounces, we used to anyway. And now I think he sells Fruit of the Loom underwear, but I think that he's in that, isn't it? Anyway, he was committed to playing basketball. so committed that even though he was cut from his high school basketball team because he had no skill, he became probably the best. I don't know, that's arguable, I suppose, but some people would say the best, probably the best basketball player yet to be seen. Steven Spielberg, you've heard of him? He's made a couple, 3 movies, one or two, gotten one or two awards. Well, he was so committed to making movies that even though he was a high school dropout and was rejected from film school not once, not twice, 3 times, he went on to become an award-winning filmmaker whose films not only have entertained, which they certainly have, but have also given us amazing messages, such as Schindler's List. Amazing messages. So here's one you may not have heard of, but as soon as I say his name, you will recognize him. Soichiro, may or may not have pronounced that first name correctly, Honda. He was turned down by Toyota to work as an engineer. But he was so committed that he decided to start his own little company, thank you very much, and it has done fairly well. I've owned 3 of his cars. They're great cars. Of course, we all know about Thomas Edison, you know, who was told by a teacher once, you're too stupid to learn anything. He was told by a teacher, you're too stupid to learn anything. And yet he was so committed to bringing light to the world that he pursued over 900 failures to finally see the light, literally and figuratively. Finally, Fred Smith. May or may not know his name. Fred had a big commitment to a big idea. And he was a student at Yale, and he wrote a paper about his big idea. He got a C on the paper, and this is what his instructor wrote. Well, Fred, the concept is interesting and well-formed, but in order to earn better than a C grade, your ideas also have to be feasible. His idea wasn't feasible by an expert. But he was so committed to his idea, he went on to create Federal Express anyway. So the examples could go on and on and on about people who were committed, who faced challenges, and yet continued, despite those challenges or because of those challenges, I say because, to create the badass life that they wanted to create. Now, I alluded to this a second ago, but I have to say it again right now. Here's the deal. The important thing is not about becoming a world-famous basketball player. The important thing is not about becoming an award-winning director. The important thing is not about creating car businesses or overnight delivery businesses. The important thing isn't whatever your dream might be. I mean, yes, those are great, and it's great that all that happened. But here's the truly important thing. It's who you become in the process. It's who you realize you are in the process. It is the fact that you are expressing the divine more expansively, more fully because you've done it. That's what really matters. That's the big, golden, beautiful payoff of all of doing those things. So I want to ask you again, what do you think is possible for your life? What is possible for your life? That maybe you have said, oh, too big. Or maybe you've said, not big enough. Nobody else gets to say. You get to say. So there is no big or small. It's whatever you say. So is it getting a different job? Is it buying a house? Is it quitting a habit that doesn't serve you? Is it getting in shape or back in shape? Is it going to school, enrolling in a class? Is it enrolling in a class here at CLU, Creative Living University, and perhaps getting on the path to being a spiritual life coach or a religious science minister? You can do that here, you know. What is it? Just a little plug. What is it for you? Cisnero writes this: there's no big mystery to this stuff. If you want something badly enough and decide that you will get it, you will. There are plenty of people out there in the world living the kind of life you only dream about living, many of whom are far less fabulous and talented than you are. The key to their success is that they have decided to go for it. They stopped listening to their tired old excuses and changed their lousy habits and got on with it. I edited that too, by the way. So if you read that in the book, it's going to be slightly different. So we end our month of being your badass self by kicking it into gear. And I want to ask you again. And this time I'd love an answer. What is the next thing for you? What is that next thing? What is that thing in your life that maybe you thought was impossible, but your heart is so calling you to it that you are ready this morning, right here in this room, to say yes to it, to make a committed decision about it? And I'm wondering if there is anybody motivated this morning who wants to preach it a little bit and tell us what it is, to say yes to it. Yes, Reverend Sandra. Actually, Michelle, would you turn that on if it's not on? It is on. Thank you. Could we make sure that mic is on? Reverend Sandra, what is your committed decision?
Yeah,
you're on.
My committed decision is to publish the book that I am writing, that it sees the light of day and is an assistance to other people going through similar things.
I know the book that you're writing. I know how important that book is. Yes. All right. So, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you stood up. So, here we go. By when? Mm-hmm. Well, have it written. How's that? Let's take it a step at a time. Have it written. December 31st, Reverend Sandra is going to come to us and say, my book is written. And we're going to jump for joy, but right now let us celebrate that the book is written. Okay, I see Ann Caldwell in the back. Michelle, would you mind running? Get your exercise there, girl, in those big high heels. Yeah. Ann, what is your big committed decision?
Wow, I don't know how to put it in a time frame, but have had some financial hiccups, and my commitment is to maintain. This is how I can do it: maintain current payments with my retirement lot in Mexico.
Yes. So when is the next payment due?
28th of this month.
Okay, so we see that one paid, right? And you're making a committed decision and doing whatever steps are needed? Yes, we support that. Catherine, and then Freedom. We'll do two more.
We've actually already started.
Okay.
We will be purchasing a home in Italy. You know that because you know that it will be 6 months here, 6 months there, and the streaming CLF. It's all good. And we've already started the steps. We met with realtors there. We've already started the steps. It's a 5-year plan because our business must be one that we could easily do here or there.
What is your next step about the business or about the purchase?
So the next step about the business would be to have 10 coaching clients, 10 private coaching clients at any given time, and Michelle Davis is actually helping us do that. And that's a whole nother story if you want to talk to me afterwards, but that's our next step. We took the first step of committing to go there and figure out where we want to be and meeting with different people and looking into my citizenship over there because, as you know, that's my background and all that stuff. So we've taken the steps, and it's a 5-year plan.
Fantastic. We see you have 10 clients. Perfect. Oh, we have a mic right here. Samuel, could we get the yellow mic on, please? It's on. All right, perfect.
Hey. Today was the I feed the homeless before I come to church every morning, and I've been doing that. I took a little time off, but the sum total is 6 years, and I fed 5,000 people as of today. And I'd like to feed 25,000 by next Christmas.
Whoa, that is your committed
Yeah.
Not I'd like to feed them.
I
My
will feed
committed
25,000
decision
by
is
next
to read-
Christmas.
Yes, give her a hand. It's done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, for being our runner. I want to leave this month with the last chapter, which is only 2 pages long, to this book. It's so beautiful, and I thought about putting it in my own words, and then I thought, no, I like her words. I want you to hear these words. And some of you I know have read the book, so these will sound familiar. Others of you have not. The chapter is entitled, Beam Me Up, Scotty. And it begins with a story about the author's grandmother. My grandmother on my mother's side lived to be 100 years old. Nana was as waspy as they make 'em. Prissy, reserved, able to avoid confrontation with the skilled precision of an F-16 pilot. For as long as I can remember, she always looked exactly the same. She was eternally adorned in a cardigan, pinned together at the top by an antique brooch, her pink lipstick and sparkly brown eyes shining through a face full of wrinkles that erupted in a series of oh dears every time she laughed. In her long lifetime, Nana witnessed the birthing of such pivotal human achievements as the phone, the car, the TV, human flight, the computer, the internet, and rock and roll. 2 things that blew her mind the most, however, were putting a man on the moon and the soda dispensers at McDonald's. She'd stand there watching, gripped by disbelief, as an employee placed a cup, small, medium, or large, beneath a spout, pushed a button, and walked away, leaving the machine to fill it up to the perfect, proper amount. How does it know when to stop? Nana would shake her head mortified. How does it know? After we figured out how to clone a sheep, she pretty much threw in the towel on ever questioning anything again. One day, my family took her out for a lunch to a restaurant on the top floor of a giant hotel. We got on into the elevator. When we got into the elevator, someone accidentally pushed the button for the floor we were already on the moment the door closed. So the door closes, and the person pushes 1, which is where they were, making them open right back up again. Thinking we'd just gone up 45 flights in a split second, we watched my sweet little grandmother exit the elevator, nervously patting her hair as she wandered down the hallway, muttering to herself, well, why not? I want to sign off here, and we're signing off this month, by encouraging you to pursue your dreams with the same belief that anything is possible. As a little old lady in knee-high stockings and sensible heels who was born in 1903 and lived through the most technologically flabbergasting century to date. Whatever you desire to do with your precious life, write jokes, or rock out, or start a business, or learn to speak Greek, or quit your job, or raise a bunch of kids, or fall in love, or lose your flab, or open orphanages around the world, or direct movies, or save dolphins, or make millions, or live in a canyon in a loincloth, believe that it's possible, and that it's available to you, and that you deserve it. Why not? Give yourself the permission and the means, yes, that includes money, talked about that last week, to be who you are regardless of what anybody else thinks or believes is possible. Do not deny yourself the life you want to live because you're worried you're not good enough, or that you'll be judged, or that it's too risky, because who does that benefit? No one. That's who. When you live your life doing the things that turn you on, that you're good at, that bring you joy, that make you shove stuff in people's face and scream, check this out, you walk around so lit up that you shoot sunbeams out of your eyeballs, which automatically lights up the world around you, which is precisely what you are here to do, to shine your big-ass ball of fire onto this world of ours, a world that literally depends on light to survive. You are powerful. You are loved. You are surrounded by miracles. Believe it. Really believe that you deserve. I can't see in these. That you deserve. That what you desire, there it is here and available to you, and you can have it all. And most of all, love yourself, because you, my friends, are a bad ass. Is that great or what? All right, let's pray. Let's bring our badass selves into prayer. Right. In this moment of joy, in this moment of recognizing infinite possibilities for ourselves, we bask in the moments, in the energy of right now, in the energy of creation, in the energy of possibilities, in the energy of life itself, which is everywhere, around us, in us, through us. Because God, perfection, life is in us, around us, and through us. And so I do proclaim here this morning, as I speak my word, that each and every one of us steps forth into that committed decision to be who we came here to be, to live the life we came here to live, to say yes to our next possibility, to step forth in faith, in trust, in surrender, in believing in all of those things, to step forth in all of those things into the unknown, and know that providence is moving to support us in every way possible. So I accept this, I know this, and in that accepting and in that knowing, my heart is profoundly filled with gratitude. And in thanksgiving and in joy, we let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.